upgrade. So anybody wanting to build UI in their space is going to find that to be a lot easier in general to work with. And just using any UI, including the menus, stuff like that, is going to get a lot better because we've got a brand new pointer system that's coming, right? Nimso's been working on that now for a couple of weeks. And as I'm sure you know, with the stuff that he tends to work on, it's hopefully going to be a vast improvement in terms of user experience, right, compared to what you're used to. And there's going to be new features to it. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but the pointer is going to integrate with your player's ability to grab and pick up objects, right? So you're going to be able to like point at an object and grab it from a distance and move it around, kind of like a gravity gun kind of thing, right? Kind of like how this object manipulator works when you're grabbing objects.
I expect you to die.
Is that in there as well? I expect you to die?
Yeah, I said I expect you to die. So we have the same feature in that game.
Yes. Gotcha.
To grab objects on a distance.
There you go.
You threw us out for a minute there. What are you on about?
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh, God. Yes. Anyway, I'm going to just waffle on about WebRTC if nobody stops me. So maybe I'll see what Barry wants to ask. What do you got for us, Barry?
I have a whole series of things, but I don't want to interrupt your flow because you've obviously Technocrat's here and he's been working on stuff, and I want to hear more about the home space, for example, landing.bant.ing.
Gotcha.
Because every time I go in there, it's a new version, and I can keep track of the number of the version, but I have to type in the whole URL. So if I put my own photos in the photo frames or do any remodeling. Also, because that beautiful screen, which has some nice stuff on it, isn't accessible, I'm kind of curious to know what the plans are to get the keyboard out of the floor and, just stuff like that. So I'll start there.
Sure, yeah. Well, look, I mean, I think right now the landing space that we've got was kind of, it was, I guess, yeah, we haven't put as much time into that as ideally I would have liked to, let's say. But it was a means to get us away from the other space we had, which was the default landing space for new users, which was the all hands space, right? Okay. We had originally changed that away from the Crystal Lake over to the all hands space, mainly for performance reasons. We noticed that when a lot of people started to come together in the Crystal Lake, that things would get a bit laggy, and we wanted to make it as good as we possibly could for new users who were coming in. And yeah, in essence, we went through a lot of our spaces, and that one in particular was performing great, and that's why that became the default landing space, right? So for anybody who's unaware, I'm sure you all are, right? You can change your home space, but at some point that home space is set to something by default. It's actually a bit more complex than that. We have a number of options you can pick, right? You can go back to our old legacy lobby if you really want to go back to the thing we had before, because, we don't like to take things away. Or you can select something called Banter's Choice, right? Which is basically our ability to dynamically change that first space that people land into. But in essence, that's what we're talking about, right? This is literally just us changing it away from the all hands space into this other space. And actually what we did with this space was that we revived a space we had quite a while ago. In fact, through community feedback and talking about really what's good to have as that first experience for people coming onto the platform, we kind of identified that dropping people into a multi-user space, i.e. Crystal Lake, their first time, maybe wasn't the best idea. We looked at what people were getting across other apps and how they were being presented with an environment. And generally, we found that people kind of came in and wanted a mirror to just see how they looked, to make sure everything was good, jump on from there onto their next kind of destination, right? So that was the goal of this space. Everything else, kind of on top of that, is less of a priority right now. If I'm honest, the goal of that space was mainly just to kind of give you a cozy, small scale, kind of comfortable environment where you've got a decent sized mirror and you can see what avatar you are, and change up your avatar a little bit if you need to. Maybe calibrate your full body tracking if that's something that you need to do, right? So
Okay.
that's what that space is, right? There's no real special
Sure.
functionality or
Sure.
anything else on that.
Okay, so what has happened is when new people come in, they end up there, then they'll come to me and start asking me questions about it. And unfortunately, the type of explanation that you've just given won't make any sense to them, because they'll say, well, if things aren't working there, why would I go there? So anyway, my suggestion is turn off some of the things that don't even need to be turned on. Leave the picture frames empty. Turn off the big screen, or put just a still picture on the big screen. Maybe even an explanation of what it is, just to keep.
I mean,
it from,
honestly, I think it's not really, to be candid, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the
Okay.
picture frames contain, default images, and if people explore their way around, they can change them, right? And then the big screen is kind of just showing some of the content that you've got on the platform, and then you've got a selection of portals to take you to take you on to places people might want to go, the avatar world, the Crystal Lake. I actually think that for what it is, right, and for what we wanted to achieve with it, that the largest and most important part of that has been addressed, and for us that was the biggest priority. And honestly, to be candid with you, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If I did, I would prioritize it more, but it's not that big of a deal. I think the space is just supposed to be kind of a little cozy area for new people to get acclimated, rather than be thrown into a space with a larger group of people, and to have that personal kind of feedback, right, with the mirror. And that was our goal, that we set out to achieve with that change of that space, right? There's no special consideration there. It is just a space like any other space. We've had the Crystal Lake as the default space in the past, right? And I'm sure there's a number of things that we could sort of look at that.
I might be totally alone in my thinking, so I'm fine. We can leave the subject completely.
Sure. Yeah, like I say, you can change your space to pretty much whatever you want. Any space that you like, public or private, right? That is your prerogative. What we're talking about here is just that very first, that very first arrival of new users. So I think in that case, one thing that we did change, right, is that typically when people were arriving before, they would all land into the same instance of the Crystal Lake, right? With this new one, we've actually flipped a switch which has always been there, but it makes private instances of this new landing space when people join into it. And that that is honestly based on the same feedback, right? It's just like I said before, we wanted to kind of give people this space where they could get quickly acclimated, and the intention then is for them to not really spend that much time in there, to jump on and to probably change away from that space to some other space in future, right? And there's a lot to be done there. There certainly is, and I'll take that feedback back, Barry. But I'll be honest, it's not. I don't see it as the hugest deal right now, and I think the important things about that space are important, right? So, that's about as much as I can give you at this stage.
I have one question about that space, if I could, just real quickly. I was in this space with a lady named Stage Presence. She liked the space, But what she
Yes.
didn't like about the space is if she's going to keep her own instance of it, she wanted to be able to get rid of some of the portals in it that were not necessary to her as a user that's been in for a long time, like the
Gotcha.
welcome portal. And where that welcome
Yeah.
one's at, that's like could be a tube hallway to another space that she could maybe dress out. Is the artwork for
Right.
that space available in the SDK?
It's not, but it is one of our own original ones. So it is something that we could potentially make available. I'm not sure if those portals are embedded like in the asset bundle of the space, right? Or if they're externally added. My guess is they're probably embedded, right? But I could probably get Aline to put up a version of the space where they're simply not embedded, and that way you can put on your own versions of
Yeah.
of whatever portals
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
instead.
That'd be cool if we
And
could. Where that one welcome one is, that tube there could be a hallway to maybe another space, and that
Yes.
way people can customize it a little bit more as we get to the
Sure.
building stage and being able to do things building. That'd be kind of cool. So that's all. No biggie.
That sounds like a cool idea. Definitely does. I'm not sure if it's important for that space right now. Like I explained before,
No, no, I
the
get
intention
that.
with that space is that you jump on from it, go to somewhere else. So having another
It's a nice piece of
another
artwork,
area.
and people
Hmm?
people like it. It's a nice piece of artwork, and it's
It
nice.
is,
So
yeah.
it'd be neat if we
Yeah.
could modify
That one
it
was
a little
created by
bit, this and
Patrick.
that with it.
I don't know how many, or if anybody here knows Patrick. Patrick is a friend of mine who worked with the company a couple of years ago and did a lot of 3D modeling for us at the time. There's a number of spaces actually built by Patrick that are still lurking around there in a few different instances. But that one was our original home space, actually. Back when you couldn't change your home space, that was the fixed home space. And you would drop into there, and it wasn't a mirror, it was just a huge window out into like a space, right? Just a big void skybox. And it just played Claire de Lune somewhere on like a little radio in the background all the
what
time.
Static was saying is that the mirror isn't all that useful to her. She'd like to put the YouTube player there where the mirror's at, and
Gotcha.
maybe put in some furniture and do some other things. But she
Gotcha.
was, she had ideas that she could do a little bit of rearranging to it. Be kind of cool.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, feel free to tell her to jump into the Space Makers chat and ping me or anyone else in there, and I can see if I can get Aline to pull some of those bits out, right? And upload a version to another space or something. And then maybe somebody can help them out to take the asset bundles and mix them together with some extra stuff on top to pull in the YouTube player, pull in different portals, pull in whatever artwork she wants to kind of have in there, right? So we can certainly talk about that, yeah.
I also noticed that the quality of the mirror is not nearly as good as the one that's in the Avatar world.
Gotcha. Well, that's something we
that
could
kinda-
probably
Yeah, that
improve.
should be an easy fix too, for sure.
Yeah, that's probably an easy fix, and I think that makes sense.
So, along the same lines, but not to do with that world, I think it would be really helpful if we could know who built each of the worlds. And we don't have to know specific names. I mean, it could be former employee or whatever. But sometimes it's just nice to recognize, like I put my name on everything I do, but not everybody wants to do that. So I think it would be nice to know who made something just so we can give credit where it's due.
That is a really good idea.
Thank you.
So
one too.
I don't know if it's in here yet. I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. So there is something basically that I've built in, right? This feedback was given in the past, and I've taken it and we've integrated it. So there's going to be a kind of primary web browser surface for each space that you'll be able to, let's say, open in some way, right? Either the space can position it somewhere that you'll be able to see it, or you'll be able to spawn it into existence for yours and the space's purposes, let's say. The default of that view is going to show you details of the space, including the author, and some details of them, and a link to their profile on SideQuest if you want to go and talk to them.
Cool.
Now that's
That'd be great.
just for spaces that are going to be like registered, not necessarily featured ones, right? But as long as it is a space that's created through SideQuest.
Excellent. So my last one is:
Yeah.
Is there any objection to creating a reward system that can be kept track of, and just so that somebody comes into one of my worlds, I'm going to give them 10 reward points. Keep track of it. I mean, I can do it all manually right now, but is there any objection to doing that?
Well, we have an XP system, right? As I'm sure some of you have noticed, there's an XP system, and that seems to trigger a certain thing in a lot of our minds. We've actually had that in place for quite a while, but we've just never surfaced the UI. It's been built into SideQuest. All of us are signed into SideQuest, and you actually earn points for a lot of different things you do on SideQuest, but also here in Banter, right? Just being active as it is already. Now, what you're talking about, I guess, is do we expose that as something that you as a space creator can have access to? And that is
Or-
a difficult question, I guess, to answer. And I can tell you why.
That's not I know, I understand why it's a problem, but I just was wondering if there's any objection if I said Barry's Banter Bucks, for example, and I
Right.
give somebody 5 every time they come into my world. I'd sort of be setting a little bit of a precedent for the things that I'm doing.
Yes.
And I'd have to keep track of it, and I'd be sued if somebody felt like they were being ripped off. So I just wonder, is there any reason why SideQuest or Banter would have any objection to me doing that?
No.
Okay.
I would say it depends on how things go, right? But in the future, if there was any kind of objection on our side, it would probably just involve asking you to try and host this on your own website rather than on our .bant.ing addresses,
Okay.
right? Which is
Yeah.
a fairly easy transition to do, right? And that's
Sure.
kind of a luxury of ours and yours in a sense, in that we can do that, right? We've got a decentralized system, so we can never prevent anybody from doing anything here on the platform. We can never really stop people from creating content that's compatible with Banter because of that decentralized system. Banter effectively being just like the Chrome browser, right? So
Right.
any website out there can exist, and it can be Banter compatible, and it can be accessible, right? But no, as it stands, what you've described doesn't sound like a problem really to me at all.
Excellent. Thank you. That's it. Hard questions are over.
Okay, have you got some easy ones?
Sure. When are you going to change your avatar again?
Oh, well, this one's got some secrets embedded in it, so I'm not going to change it for a while.
Okay.
But I think those secrets have already mostly been figured out, at least by some people in the room. But who knows? Maybe we'll.
Here's another easy question. When can we look forward to
Yeah.
Bob's new calendar setup? Because it's quite cool.
Oh, I'm not sure. You're going to have to check in with him on that. He's been heads down vibe coding that, along with a bunch of other people who kind of come together in this little frenzy of early morning vibe coding. Bob's got a bunch of different things he's got going on at the minute. He's built his own version of Blam, which he's called Not Blam or something similar. He's working on some new building stuff, whether it's building events or something like that. Bob the Builder. Makes sense, right? But yeah, so he's got a bunch of different. He's got a bunch of different things.
A side project for him. Cool.
Yeah. It's all.
I look forward to that.
A side project.
It's really excellent. It really works well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Can I mention something?
Go for it.
I was going to say, one thing that came up during Bob's building that actually inspired me as well is, so I don't know if you know about this, or maybe Shane, you can confirm. I assume it's all fine. SideQuest, the website, actually has OAuth OAuth support, as in if you register an app, which I believe you can, Shane, you can tell me, anybody can do, then essentially what you can do is you can use SideQuest provider, and that's what Bob's done, and that's actually what my little project was this weekend. So now I have a little thing in my system where
Interesting.
if you go to register, you can actually click on the button that says register with SideQuest. Of course, you guys all have SideQuest accounts already. What it will do is it will generate a number, just like any other app that's registered with SideQuest. It will give you that 6-digit number. You copy paste that onto your account, say link, and then suddenly you can log in using that. So you basically means you don't have to get somebody's email address or something like this in order to create an account. And having an OAuth provider is something that a lot of websites use. You know, they might see something like Facebook or Gmail or some of these other ones, but actually SideQuest itself does provide that as functionality. I'm not sure what the ramifications are in terms of being in VR and wanting to register, but I wanted it for myself, so you know I have that now built.
Yes.
In. But anyway, no, people
Yeah.
might not know that.
It's interesting, right? So we built this a couple of years back because we were running this fitness event surrounding a bunch of different VR apps in fitness, and it involved integrating SideQuest, linking your account, earning achievements, which you can also do, right? Believe it or not. There's an SDK if you can track down the SideQuest VR public GitHub. There's a pinned repo at the top, which is the Unity SDK, which basically contains just this, the OAuth setup using the 6-digit code, which, let's be honest, I think we're all pretty familiar with that because we use it here in Banter. We use it in our Unity plugin. We used it in our Blender plugin. I've used it in a bunch of different places as well where I've been testing out mad stuff. And yeah, now, like you say, Bob has started to use it as well. So it's definitely something that we use a lot ourselves. It's not going to change or go away anytime soon. So it's up to you if you did want to do that. And it is kind of just like Shoseki described. It's kind of like a single sign-on sort of setup where you could, you could effectively create your own scoped application and be able to instead of signing people up, right, lean on our user system, right, be able to use that kind of like your own sort of platform services in a way, right? And honestly, there's a few different things. Actually, it's interesting because we just recently added that same 6-digit code sign in onto the website itself, right? Which is kind of handy if you find yourself signed out of the site. If you're signed in somewhere else, you'll be able to get the, enter the 6-digit code somewhere else and sign yourself in on the other site, right? So it'll be passwordless sign in for the entire site across the board. The reason that we've added this is because we've recently added a whole new streaming, video streaming system onto the website, which is imminently about to go live. Which we'll be testing here in Banter as a closed group to begin with before we actually make that available on a wider basis to the wider SideQuest audience, let's say. But as part of that, you start, your flow on the website and it's like, I want to stream. And then at some point it's like, okay, enter this address inside your headset, right? Inside your browser in your headset. And that's why we introduced that 6-digit flow there, right? Was so that we could also sign you into the SideQuest website and do all of that streaming and then show it on your user profile, right? That's something that we're excited about experimenting, is that you'll be able to publish a live stream to your user profile, right? Bunch of other things. I won't get into it because you won't shut me up because I'll talk about WebRTC for hours and hours and hours and hours. But yeah, in a nutshell, I don't see any problem with that at all. Those tools are there. They're publicly available to leverage our OAuth system, and they've been there for quite a while. And we actually have a public API and API docs. If anybody's interested in that, Swagger docs, api.sidequestvr.com/docs. And you can see a list of all of the public data endpoints. You can even inject your own refresh token into that page and test out the endpoints as if you were a signed-in user. You can test out the whole OAuth system there no code really. So yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've been working on internally for a while, and honestly, it's been one of the goals of Banter is for us to kind of dog food a lot of these internal services that at some point in the future we might make available to other developers as well, right? So that API surface might start to expand in terms of the public stuff. There's kind of 3 layers to it right now. There's this public layer that you'll see, which is mostly the OAuth plus a user achievement system. I mean, you can do this right now, right? If you wanted, you could have a space where people put in a 6-digit code to sign in with SideQuest, and then you can award them badges that show up on their SideQuest profile, right? So there's a whole user achievement system built into that as it stands. But then there's this secondary layer where there's a lot of extra stuff that we've been testing here inside of Banter, which includes everything from the friends system, the messages system, the event system, the spaces system, avatar system. All of these things actually exist in that layer where we're kind of testing things out. And then the rest of it is kind of the wider SideQuest API that powers all of the rest of the services that we provide between the suite of apps that we have on our main website. So yeah, in a nutshell, of course, anybody is welcome to pick that up and roll with it if that's something you wanted to do. And honestly, Barry, coming back to your original point, I mean about the XP system. We're actually still percolating internally about how that's going to work. And what you'll probably find is that in the coming weeks and months, we're likely going to experiment with different ways to reward people on the platform. But it's actually a really tricky thing because we need to try and find a balance, right, of doing something that's fair, that's not spammy, that seems valuable to people. We want to try and intertwine it with some extra benefits that people can get, right? We originally built the system actually probably close to 2 years now, and it works much like a lot of the XP systems. I think we modeled it on PiggyBot. I think it uses the same XP calculation which they used, which was something that was already publicly available. But in essence, yeah, it's an exponential increase in XP that you must earn for each level, and then your levels increase. And the original intention was that at certain levels you could be awarded certain things. So that's me, I guess, telling you the mechanics of how that can come together right now today, right? Unless we change it to do something else, but that's the idea. You could find that at some level, maybe something might happen, right? Maybe you'll earn a certain thing or whatever it could be. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And honestly, whether we expose that to spaces is still up for grabs. What we need to do is just make sure it stays fair, right? So a space creator can't just sit there and pump their own points up or something, because of a bug or an error.
And just to be clear, when you say XP, that stands for experience, correct?
Experience points, yeah. Typically, yeah. That's
right.
the connotation
Thank
there,
you.
yeah. But so yeah, stay tuned, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. And in the meantime, feel free to pursue something that you want to do yourself. But if you have any insight as to how we could use that one or any ideas, feel free to share them in the Discord, throw them into the ideas channel or whatever channel you want. Really.
Any links to any of these back-end things that we can take a look at, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you that for the longest time, we have done sort of giveaways, right? And other sort of drops, let's say, on the website on SideQuest. And we're still doing them now, although we have changed them in recent months. And as part of those that giveaway system, people would earn points that they could then expend in order to enter certain giveaways. And this system actually works the same as that. So for all of the points that you earn, you also earn XP, but you don't spend your XP. It's just a vanity metric that will continue to increase exponentially. So all of the stuff that applies to the giveaways and the stuff you can earn, there's an entire transaction history of every single thing you've done that's earned you a certain amount of points. So all of that is on the SideQuest website, and yeah, I can certainly follow up with some links on where you can find some more
Cool.
information about that. But that's what earns
just a-
you XP.
Yeah, just as an example of that, within Barry's Banter blocks, there's about 30 people that have contributed by building things in there. If there was
Gotcha.
some way to measure how many blocks they used in a particular period of time, then that would go towards their their block value.
Yes.
And that's how I'm thinking about using it, because then it requires the leaderboard that we've talked about before. But it's all
Yes.
doable.
Yes, well, there is a leaderboard service. I actually think there's a leaderboard example in the SDK. Stop me if I'm wrong. I need to check with Aline. But she's
I went
definitely
looking
built
for it,
one.
but I didn't see it.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't.
it's
I
in
don't think
use
it's
in the Winter Sport Resort, right? You know, the leaderboard
Oh.
screens in there. So there is a
Right.
dedicated backend service running just for leaderboards. And we've built a little
That'd be great.
leaderboard system that allows you to kind of submit scores, right? And user information that then
Yeah, please find out if
forms.
that's available for us to play with. That'd be great.
It definitely is. It definitely is. You need to dive in with visual scripting in order to be able to use it, right? And there's some samples. In fact, I think it might even be on the market store that you've got like a collider, a trigger collider, right? Like a trigger box for the start and for the finish, and that's it, right? And then you have a leaderboard up on an actual physical board,
Okay.
and then it'll do times or something. So I think there is a drop-in
Yeah, I was
solution that
using
requires no
OneSpace.
code.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I used it for a while, so it is there somewhere.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know where it is. So
All right. Thank you. That's great.
yeah, no hassle. Technocrat, do you have anything you want to talk about? And I don't know how much you've been looking at this week. I don't know if you're talking, but you might be muted.
Kitty Cat's got his tongue.
Can anyone else hear
it's not
Technocrat? Is
working.
this...
Sending a bug report.
Yes. Although I'm pretty sure he's on PCVR, so it could be just a complicated. No, standalone quest.
Rejoin
Interesting.
space.
I megaphoned you, but
Let's see if we can read his lips.
nobody else could hear it. It sounds like you're having audio problems.
Hey, while we're waiting for
Get
Well,
the
we're waiting for him
logo.
to come back. I should note that our current SDK is Unity based, right? That's a C# SDK. It's not one you can immediately use. When I'm talking about SDK, I'm talking about the OAuth SDK that Shoseki was talking about before. This is the SideQuest SDK. We've got lots of SDKs. So, yeah, with that one, it's a Unity based one. C# might be difficult to use out of the box. We don't have one. We don't have a sample for that in visual scripting. I do have the bones of a vibe coded JavaScript library that can do it and other things. But yeah, I'm not sure what state that's in. I need to look at that, clean it up, and I could potentially make that available if people were interested. I'm not even too sure if people are interested in trying to do that, right? Or if you prefer, like Barry's talking about doing, building out your own systems. I mean, this is the internet, right? And you can do whatever you want. And I like to think of Banter as open as a browser in that sense. So I definitely think having more variety and diversity in these kind of ecosystems is a better thing rather than us just being the ones that build everything. Yes, basically.
But you
So,
you still
yeah.
have the
Because it still follows a standard OAuth process. So I mean,
Yes.
Claude knocked it out in. I mean, Bob now has. I'm sure he'd be happy me talking about just bits of this. He has like a couple of these like MD scripts, Markdown scripts of just really useful stuff. I'm trying to persuade him to chuck it on his website. One of them he's got is like a visual scripting thing that Claude can use, and he created one specifically for me just to do the OAuth stuff. So I was struggling with the OAuth. I slapped in this MD file, and suddenly, it starts.
It knows what it's doing.
Getting to grips with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't even mind particularly. I mean, nobody here is a Drupal developer, and they're not building using it, so probably irrelevant. But I wouldn't mind open sourcing all of that stuff. It's literally just a social auth plugin. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think my mic might be working at this point.
Oh.
Also,
Yeah.
I was on Quest,
Yeah.
like native, so there probably is a glitch somewhere, which is weird that it couldn't function. Or it could be that my headset's broken, I don't know, like one or the other. Although it is working now with the Quest. I shouldn't tap on that.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It is.
Yeah, I was
You
tapping on
went
my...
out to it.
Okay. Yeah, I guess probably some comments. One, I think eventually the data will reflect this, but like having a really solid first impression with the banter space is going to be kind of essential for new users because, I mean, if there are glitches that exist in the home world, people will assume that the entire like application is broken. Just because, hey, look, the first interaction I have is glitchy, therefore, like the entire like game doesn't work, right? And yeah, it'll drop off. Like it'll be measurable in the data. So just making sure that like onboarding is as smooth and also like an exemplary like factor as to what banter is supposed to like be and function, and also like demonstrate mechanics, right? Like, hey, you can do this and that. It should be effectively glitch free, right? Because then other developers can kind of like validate, hey, like this works in this manner or whatnot. I guess that's just like, a take.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that, I don't know. We've been around the houses, I think, a lot on this particular topic internally, and there's been a lot of different opinions, and a lot of people feel differently about different things. But I think the important piece that we should remember about this space is that it's not really intended to keep them there, right? Or to demonstrate really all that much, apart from the fact that you can see yourself as an avatar and then you can jump on from there. I definitely agree with you. It should be as polished as it can be. And there's definitely more that we should do there for sure. But I think, it's a process, right? And this is an improvement drastically on what was there before. And
Yeah, I
there's
agree.
still more
It's definitely an
improvements,
improvement. It's
to
just
be made.
like my first impression was I tried using the picture frame. I clicked on it, the click to audio haptic, feedback, visual feedback is pretty poor to where I don't know exactly when it's registering my voice, to where I was like, okay, draw me a puppy. And then I got like this factory with smog. And I'm like, that's not what I said, and I kept clicking and trying to get it to work. And there's like nothing that it just doesn't feel like it was responsive, which to me is just like a bad initial impression, especially if it's going to be the first experience that someone has.
Yeah, maybe we pull those pictures out then in the meantime. That's definitely something we can do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should be there. Just like it needs to be, every item there should be as high grade as one can show, just for
Yes.
priming the experience and priming like the level of quality that the platform kind of expects. Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
A big part about it as well was trying to provide people with something familiar, right? So, we looked at Rec Room, we looked at VR Chat, we looked at Horizons, and obviously there's a lot more, like I said, that can still be done. But we looked at something that was pretty basic, provided you with some visual feedback of yourself, and was primarily intended as a stepping stone onto somewhere else, right? So I just want to reiterate that is the primary goal, I think, of the space right now. But yeah, there's definitely still more to be done there.
Okay. Yeah, in other news, like, I guess the inspector is now, like, functioning for the most part. I'm gonna like the first edition is just gonna be pretty much mostly for object manipulation, like spatial manipulation, and not really focus too much on the scripting mechanics, just for simplicity. And also that that's probably good initial like exposure of it. Yeah, I guess I just need it to be VR like capable, and then it'll be there, right? Because most of the visual tooling that needs to be generated has to be like VR centric, and that's not really easy to calibrate on with 2D right now. So
Yeah, I think the newest stuff is pretty much code complete. So there's going to be a build, I would say, tomorrow, early-ish, that should have a lot. There's going to be an internal build, not external just yet, but maybe Technocrat
2
might share it
weeks.
with you, right? If you're lucky and you're good.
I mean, it's available for anyone who wants to like try it out. It's pretty much it's open source, like so it's entirely like takeable. I'm gonna make like right now the backend doesn't rely on a pure like the space state like system is kind of broken right now. So I've migrated everything to Firebase. So in order for it to like work to your own full autonomy, you're going to have to like create a Firebase account, which takes like literally 5 minutes to do, and just link the project keys with the inspector, and it should sync accordingly.
That's exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
That is.
feel free to check our link to the project on GitHub into Space Makers or whatever. I'd love to try that. That sounds awesome.
It right now it's perhaps not like in a healthy state for like public tinkering because it is being refactored like really badly right now because there's a like a huge migration. I guess like all of the scripting stuff is kind of like doesn't work, and it just needs to be kind of consolidated. There's just a lot of code that needs to be like there. It's crazy because like by migrating to Firebase, like I almost deleted at least at this point 40% of the code base, just because a lot of it was just client communication syncing strategies rather than just using Firebase as a single state of truth to kind of just coordinate all of the mutations. Yeah. And I'm not sure if the implementation I have right now is the most elegant design because it's in this hybridized like state. There probably is a much more cleaner approach just using just by going pure I'm still trying to figure out exactly how like I should package an action where it's like, okay, like this is a mutation, and then it's gonna automatically get synced across clients. I'm not sure if I should just like wrap it. Yeah, it's gonna be an evolving process as to what is the most elegant design, but eventually it'll come to a consensus, and then I think it'll be more approachable.
For anyone who's unfamiliar, we're talking about Technocrat's Inspector, right? Which you could describe as a world builder, the ability to spatially manipulate objects around you, right? Kind of like this world builder, but on steroids, and able to do a lot more than what this one can do. And yeah, I think eventually with the scripting capability, as well as a sprinkle of some AI magic, there's going to be a possibility to create functional objects, mini games, entire worlds. And be able to do that without really having a lot of technical knowledge, right? That's kind of the magic and the dream that AI kind of enables, is that you can do a lot of crazy stuff, right? I don't know, right? Joseki's been talking about stuff that Bob has been doing, as has Barry. Bob isn't an engineer, he isn't a developer, he doesn't know how to use code at all, but he's been enabled to do some crazy stuff in the last little while. The same thing is you could say about Aline, who is also not an engineer, but in the entire company, as we've been sort of migrating over to leveraging more and more AI as part of our daily workflows, I've been really interested to know who's going to be the person who's going to have full product shipped, right, to the brunt of our audience, that has been, pretty much entirely coded by AI. And it looks like Aline is going to be the one. They're getting rid of Quest Homes on Quest, as I'm sure some of you are aware of, right? V81 and above of the firmware is killing Quest Homes. So here is some inside scoop that you've heard here first. Aline has been working vibe coding a little setup that's going to, in some way, preserve the Quest Home setup that we've got, right? We've come up with a system that will allow you to load the Quest Homes in the browser. So we're going to migrate what SideQuest currently does into kind of a WebXR experience where you'll be able to browse the Quest Homes on the SideQuest site, do that inside of VR, and then be able to jump in and out of them just using your browser. You won't have to install anything. That's the ultimate hole blown through the wall of the closed wall garden. The browser is always the open solution. So that's one thing that we are working on. Oh, hang on, my headset battery is low. Let me plug it in quickly. And there we go. And my hands have disappeared as well, which is nice. Oh, my batteries on my controller died as well. No, my Quest tracking has just stopped working. There we go. Nice, I'm back. So yeah, that's definitely something interesting. She's also managed to pull together the necessary components in Unity to be able to do the Quest Home loading too. So we actually had this in the past where you were able to load Quest Homes in Banter a while ago. Our implementation was incompatible with one of the newer Unity versions, and we deprecated it. And it's now not functional at all anymore in the latest version. But she's managed to restore that, and that works now again. We're still testing internally across multiple devices, but she's managed to do it in Unity 6.2, the latest version that we've got. So it may be possible to leverage Quest Homes in your worlds. Maybe we'll build a dedicated world that you can just sit there and browse through them, flick through them. Yeah, I mean, I recognize it would be really nice to have a more functional browser interface that lets you have like listings of things that you can search, right? Whether it's events or spaces or it's stuff on the market or it's Quest Homes, for instance, be able to interact with them and have those as an extension to the space, be able to do things in the space, right? Whether it's load an event for you or take you to an event more specifically, or load a new Quest Home or something like that, something along those lines, right? So, yeah, I've been rebuilding our entire browser for the last couple of weeks. It has been an interesting journey, and I've learned a lot about how a lot of this stuff works. And it's in a really great position right now. It's working and it's pretty stable on Quest, on Android, and on PC, which is pretty much all of the target platforms that we support right now. So I'm pretty excited about what that's going to enable. I'm hoping, like I say, to have a real nice cherry on the cake and have some built-in WebRTC capabilities there that will allow us to stream that browser, right? We checked last week. Last week we were here, static checked out for us, but that would give us a bit of an upper hand in terms of how big screen works, right? In that big screen on Quest, still requires a PC or a video file on each person's headset in order to be able to share things on Quest. And this would give us a bit of an advantage in that you'd be able to do that. I mean, I think you can share a browser in big screen, right? But you've got to pay, I think, a subscription to be able to do that, right? So that would be a benefit that we would have. But yeah, I ended up on a tangent there. I think I started with explaining what the inspector was for anybody who wasn't aware, but apologies, Technocrat, if you wanted to continue.
No, I mean, that's it. I think the best demonstration would be like once it's in game. You know, I feel like it explains itself more so like experientially than verbally. So if it's, when time comes.
Yes, it's coming very soon. I should have that VR build available for you tomorrow. That's not something that's going to be public yet, but give it a week and a half maybe, and it will be. And it's going to hopefully have as much of this new stuff as I can cram into it. It's going to be a pretty heavy amount of work between now and then to pull all of this stuff together. But there's so many updates, so many new things, and it's hopefully going to be just a lot better as an experience for anybody who's building and creating using pretty much all of the tools that we've got. And I mean, what Technocrat has done has ultimately served as an example. It's great that it's available there for you to take a look at. But ultimately, a lot of it has been vibe coded, right? To some degree, we're back and forth in terms of when we dive into the code base and take the reins again, and sometimes start writing code ourselves and trying to just understand all of the code that the AI has written, right? But for the most part, it's still there, and it's still producing a lot of contribution, a lot of value towards what we're doing. And I'm pretty excited because a number of things that have involved AI heavily are going to land at the same time, right? Whenever that happens. So I'm pretty excited to see how that's going to go in general, right? Is it going to be better than us, and it'll all be a lot smoother, and it'll have thought of more, and there'll be less bugs, and things will work better? Or is the whole effort going to go the other direction, and we need to revert to us ourselves, overviewing everything and implementing as much of the logic, core logic ourselves, is the ultimate question. And it's been a little bit of a journey, I think, to get to that point, at least for us this year internally. So I'm excited to get to the end of that and see, has it worked? Because it's kind of like limitless. That's what it's like if you use it in the right way, I think, right? It's kind of like a drug you can take that kind of makes you 4 times more efficient and able to do things more than that. But right, that's pretty much me, right? I'm already eating into the next event. I should probably not go over too long, so I don't.
Could I make one more suggestion?
Yes.
Okay, so I would love it, and I know there's other people that aren't necessarily on this platform right now, but I would love it if once a week, once every 2 weeks, there was a Q&A with one of the developers for Banter. And I know that we've got Technograd here right now, and that's great, but I think it would be really super. I mean, you're great, trust me, but I think it would also be neat to have people like Gareth and some of the other developers that are working behind the scene, just to come and do a Q&A. And it doesn't have to be anything really formal. Just, ask the questions, what do you think of this idea, that idea? But just keep it constrained to within an hour-long period. And as I say, if you did it once every couple of weeks, that would be enough.
Yes, so I would love to be able to commit Gareth's time. I think the biggest constraint is that he's...
Just him.
Sure.
Yeah.
The majority of our engineering and technical team for Banter are based in Europe, which gives it a bit of a constraint there, right? Aline obviously did a number of events in the past across many spectrums, as Bob is, and Bob is becoming increasingly technical, right? So like I say, him being one of the creators and engineers of a lot of the stuff that's going on is something you can expect to be the norm from here on out. But yeah, I mean, if we were to do something like that, it could be that it has to be very early in the morning, potentially, and it just might not be an ideal time, right? And make it worth the while, really, to do it. If it's going to be in off peak times, if you get me.
I think where it would be worthwhile is because of the number of programmers and engineers that I know on other platforms that would just love to hear what's going on here. And hear it from the developers themselves, where they're talking code out their ass, So anyway,
maybe we can figure that out, right?
It would be an event that would be attended.
I can't agree right now, right, that I can say every 2 weeks Gareth is going to spend an hour of his evening outside of his work hours, right? So I just can't commit that to him specifically. And like I say, a lot of our technical team are based in Europe, which makes the timing
Right.
there not work great.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a scenario where we can pull some people together for maybe a one-off or a
Sure.
fireside chat.
Yeah.
Something
would
like
be
that
great.
might be a bit more practical than trying to get people to
Yeah.
commit to a
Having-
regular
having you
interval
and-
of something like that right now.
Sure. Having you and Technocrat here today is just absolutely fantastic. And look at the turnout. And you know, if
Yes,
if
I mean,
that is-
honestly, between the two of us straight away, you've got an enormous chunk of mind share there when it comes to everything that we're talking about going behind the scenes. Yeah, obviously,
we're just-
there's some other people there, and I'd love to be able to get them together. I just don't want to. I don't want to commit their time when they're not here,
Absolutely.
and I'd love to talk to them about it and see what they think of it, right? And see if they can do that. But
it's just, this is
yeah,
so
I mean,
much
I'd love
appreciated. I just
to
want
do
you
that.
know Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane. And thank you, Technocrat.
Yeah, no problem at all. Okay, well, look, we are 7 minutes over the hour, so I'm going to leave it there and jump out. And I want to thank everybody for coming. We do this every week, same time. The time zones kind of shuffled us around for a little bit there, but I think we should be fixed at this time again, which I think is the right time again, but it's hard to know because it really depends on who you are and what time zone you're in. And we're kind of in that weird gray zone right now where things are flip-flopping. I think it may have just flopped and things are okay again until next year, and we have to freak out about it all over again. But yeah, long story short, this time will be the same time that we're at. Maybe Kitty, do you want to say anything if you've got anything you want to talk about? Any new events?
Yeah, so I just really quick, and then I think Kalima has an announcement that she'd like to make. She spoke with me earlier. But basically, next Sunday, Dutch and I will be launching a bi-weekly mini show. It's going to be at 6 Eastern on Sundays. It's an hour after this event ends, and it's called Studio B, so it'll be like a mini show adjacent to the late show. And at 5 o'clock, so like this hour right now, right after Space Makers, in the future, hopefully within the next week or two, Who Dr. K9 and I will be doing a Euro-friendly LGBTQIA event. So people are welcome to attend. We're just trying to use momentum to propel things forward. And at 6 tonight, so in less than an hour, we're going to do some Jackbox games with Dutch over at the 3D Cinema. And Kalima, to me, megaphone you. Go ahead.
Okay, as you know, Halloween is over. It's time to start thinking about Christmas. Last year, we had a Secret Santa event for everyone in Banter, and we're hoping to do that again this year. I haven't gotten a date or any promotional things set up yet, but I want you to start thinking about whether you want to be involved. The idea was that we all created digital gifts for each other. You know, you can create a world, you can create a Blender object, an FBX or something like that. You can use AI and create an image or a song or a poem. Barry did something really unique for my son. He did some mentoring sessions. That was really cool. So this isn't anything where we're not gonna spend money unless you really want to, but that's not the idea. This is just to spark some creativity, see what you can do, see what you can come up with, and we'll have an event sometime in the end of December to gift our gifts to everybody. I will be taking names for whoever wants to be involved in this, and then pairing people up, and then letting you know who your Secret Santa or who you're going to be the Secret Santa for. I have a questionnaire that I'll send out to people ahead of time. So I want you to be looking for that information coming up and thinking about whether you want to be involved. And I hope that every single one of you wants to be involved. I had a lot of fun with it last year, and I hope to have even more people involved with it this year. So look for that information coming soon and be thinking about what you want to do. And again, this doesn't have to be anything major. You know, if your digital skills aren't great, that's okay. Use AI and create a pretty picture. Okay, you know, that's what a few of the people did last year, and that was amazing. Everyone was appreciative. It doesn't have to be some major undertaking. It can literally be something you can do in 10 or 15 minutes, okay? So this is not any big time commitment or money commitment or anything like that. It's just try to be creative and do something for your fellow Banteronians. Okay?
Thank you, Kalima. It was a lot of fun. I just want everyone to know it was very positive and successful last year. We had a lot of fun, especially running around. Just Kalima had it set up so you literally got to open a present. Like we all met in the space. You would go to the one. You had like a little gift tag and everything. The present would open and be revealed. It was great. You did a phenomenal job putting that together. So thank you. I'm so grateful you're doing it again this year, and I can't wait to see it. So thank you, Kalima. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Static. I wanted to thank him for all of his behind the scenes work with this new Studio B event that we are launching. He's been a huge part of it, and also some other behind the scenes stuff. So thank you, Static. I appreciate you. And yeah, that is all we have. I'll see you guys at some games if you come and play soon.
Yay!
Awesome. Well, honestly, kudos to all you guys. Really awesome. Right, great. Listen, I'm gonna drop out. Thank you for that, Kitty. Yeah, I will catch you guys later on. Maybe I'll see you during the week. I might be in and around if we're testing some stuff, trying to find out the cause of some of those problems. Pony has just dropped a portal to the firehouse. If anybody wants to jump in there, so I'll segue to that.
Ooh, let's check it out.
Is it featured?
Nice.
I'm stealing
Have a
everybody.
good one, Shane. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, well, listen, guys, I will talk to you
No,
very
not
soon.
featured yet. Needs featuring.
Oh. Oh, yeah, it needs to be featured.
I'll check that out. Is it in the channel?
Please, yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go.
Struggling to get somebody with Quest 2 to get a video for it.
I can't because the OVM doesn't work in it.
Yeah.
So the OVM doesn't
Well,
I'll take a look.
Quest 2. Is there another program that'll do it?
OBM?
OVM?
OVM.
OVR mesh.
Frame
Oh.
rate monitor?
OVR metrics. It should work just fine on Quest 2.
It doesn't for mine.
It's on the
so
store.
I'm sorry, but I've been trying. I know I've downloaded it and tried to get it to work. It works on my Quest 3, but not on the Quest 2.
Gotcha. Well, there are some complex settings in there. But yeah, maybe we can catch up about this another time.
That'd be great. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, Shane.
Cool. I'll see if I can find that, Pony. Maybe I can get it featured for you.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you.
It's
See you in a bit.
And
Got to see it.
if you can call it the fire, oh, it's gone. It's gone. I want to say call it the fire.
Just
Script for network syncing things, and I realised that they'd already got a rigid body on them, so I just removed it for now because they was let's put it this way: two rigid bodies. They was bouncing around like crazy.
Hello?
These are knitted.
Wait.
Yeah, the texture quality is pretty high.
Here's the thing: they're all built in Unity, no Blender. Everything here
Okay, that's
is
interesting.
everything
How
here
did
is
you
Pro
even
Builder.
manage to do that?
Pro Builder. I build in Pro Builder. In Unity. Everything. Don't think there's a single
Okay,
object in here that I've not made. In fact, everything here is made by me in Pro Builder.
of course.
Okay, how many hours did that take? Like genuinely, that must have
Sure, no
Yeah,
problem.
been
I can build
insane.
very quickly. This is only really low poly.
5 years old, but
The only thing that was insane was the car.
What the-
I've rebuilt the car that many times.
you pick up.
Did they allow to newcomers to speak?
Pick up.
So newcomers not muted anymore.
Apparently, they can speak. Yeah.
How do you think?
Finally.
Goodness. I can't breathe like I'm stupid. Wait. We can go upstairs.
You can
Yay!
climb up